The State Border Service of Ukraine is continuing its systemic reforms. The high-quality training and professional approach have led to shorter queues, fewer delays, and no more bribes. In other words, a completely new experience on the border.
На сьогодні Державна прикордонна служба практично
Today, our State Border Service has almost finished the strategic planning of its activities up to 2020. All of our proposals were discussed at the meeting of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine. They found our suggestions to fit within the government's decisions. According to Brian Richard, the head of the Department of Civil Security Sector Reforms, the Ukrainian Border Service needs reforms in 3 key areas: strategic communication, combating corruption, and human resources management. The advisory mission of the EU is one of the organizations that have helped create a working group on border management.
And the border guards would like us to interact with them about interviewing technique, skill sets, professionalism. So we did some training around that area as well.
Of course, first and foremost, the Border Service needs to protect the border. That means preventing illegal border crossings. Last year, 15 large-scale operations were aimed at just that. 7 of those were in cooperations with foreign colleagues. The country is looking forward to taking the advice of international partners on how to develop a long-term strategy for a well-protected border.
Реформування нашої служби відбувається за дуже активної підтримки.
The reforms our service is undergoing are very actively supported by European missions, the Frontex agency, diplomatic institutions of the US, Canada, and Japan. We see that our foreign partners trust us. Today, the representatives of our office have become participants of many communication security platforms, which are held under the guidance of the UN, international migration organizations, NATO, the OSCE, and other international institutions. The next direction of reforms will be the introduction of a roadmap together with the European Union. It has 2 components: joint control and joint patrols. Regulations to implement control with Ukraine's Slovakian partners have already been issued. Currently, the Security Department is actively working with Hungarian and Romanian border guards as well, and joint patrols have been introduced along the entire border with the European Union and Moldova. We have almost completely fulfilled the roadmap that has been made for Ukraine towards visa liberalization. We've introduced biometric control measures, which is an international standard. We have 157 so-called first-line checkpoints, 97 second-line checkpoints, and 123 checkpoints that have been equipped with special hardware that allows them to connect with Interpol. And according to Taras Pastuch, who is a member of the Committee on National Security and Defense, it's important for border guards to do more than just provide entry into the country. They need to be prepared to protect the state border from possible enemies. They should be good with the rifle. He argues that the service should not answer to the Ministry of Interior Affairs, but rather to the Ministry of Defense, or else it should be completely independent of other organizations. This is a body that must not only stand on the border, it should be given certain intelligence functions as well. People who cross the border for purposes other than visiting, sabotage for example, must be first identified by border guards. They must have agents in villages or cities that are along the border. They must be able to identify agents within their own network. International cooperation is crucial in carrying out reforms in the country, including within the Border Guard Service. Taras Pastuch points to the U.S. border, which he falsely claims is guarded by U.S. armed forces. And using international experience as a guide, Ukraine is developing its own model of a modern border service.
Для нас важливим в цьому році є те, що, незважаючи на всі складнощі, наша служба дійсно
It is important for us that despite all of the difficulties, our service is developing systemically. The best indicator of this development will be the trust that we want to have from our people.
І хочемо цьому відповідати. Я б назвав це мандат довіри від суспільства. І щоб
We want to answer to the faith of our people. Our motto is serve, protect, and help, and it will be one of the things that moves us towards European integration.
Важелів руху щодо європейської інтеграції.
First of all, we want to continue with what we started in 2016. It's an ongoing process and it does not stop because we go into another year. So if we go back to the IBM concept and the IBM action plan, we are sitting very closely alongside the border guards when they have the interagency coordination group, where they are sitting together with the other, let's say, agencies also dealing with border management. At the same time, we will continue our training and our advices in the human resources change management. We are planning to have, let's say, senior management leadership training.
First and foremost, the Ukrainian State Border Service reforms aim to create a new intellectual model of guarding the state border. Authorities plan to introduce it along the eastern border first. Viktor Nazarenko insists that the model will combine all available modern technology, allowing timely identification of risks, violations, and most importantly, it will give guards the ability to respond quickly. In addition, a system of detection and identification of targets in the sea is already being used in Mariupol. The development of mobile units is considered one of the future priorities of the border service.